my name is Jessica. I'll be discussing common ethical dilemmas that lead to state board discipline, how those issues show up in my state of Virginia, and how my faith informs my understanding of ethical responsibility as a future counselor. So, to begin, I reviewed a recent scholarly article by Babu and colleagues, 2025, and they examined ethical violations across medical and allied health professions. Even though their study focused broadly on health related fields, the patterns they identified are highly similar and relevant to counseling. They found that most common violations leading to disciplinary action involved lack of proper approval, failure to follow established ethical standards, and professional misconduct. These themes mirror what we often see in counseling, such as issues related to competence, boundaries, documentation, and impairment. I then looked at the disciplinary actions that were published by the Virginia Board of Counseling. So the specific details, they do vary, but the most frequent issues include practicing outside one's scope of competence, boundary violations including inappropriate dual relationships, failure to maintain adequate documentation, impairment due to substance use or unmanaged mental health concerns, and unprofessional conduct, which can include dishonesty or failure to comply with supervision requirements. These patterns are very consistent with the concerns that Babu 2025 highlighted in the article. Both sources do emphasize that ethical violations often arise from not from a single moment of misconduct, but from ongoing lapses in judgment, self-awareness, or professional responsibility. One recent Virginia case that stood out involved a counselor who was disciplined for providing services while impaired. The board found that counselor had continued to see clients despite significant personal mental health challenges that were affecting their clinical judgment. So this behavior violated several sections of the ACA Code of Ethics, and those include the C2G impairment, which requires counselors to monitor themselves for signs of impairment and refrain from practice when their functioning is compromised. They also have the C2A, which is boundaries of competence, because impairment directly affects one's ability to provide competent care. It has also violated the Virginia Administrative Code, which prohibits practicing while impaired and requires counselors to take appropriate steps such as seeking treatment or limiting practice when their ability to provide safe services are compromised. So the outcome of this case included a license suspension. They had mandatory participation in a treatment program and a requirement for ongoing monitoring before the counselor could return to the practice. The board's response reflects the seriousness of impairment and the priority placed on the client's safety. Understanding counselor impairment is essential because it reminds us that ethical dilemmas are not always dramatic or intentional. Sometimes they just arise from stress, burnout, or personal struggles that go unaddressed. As a graduate student preparing for licensure, this reinforces the importance of self-care, supervision, and honest self-reflection. Competence is not a one-time achievement. It's a lifelong and lifetime responsibility. Finally, just want to discuss that my Christian faith shapes how I view ethical dilemmas. Scripture reminds me in Proverbs 11:3 that the integrity of the upright guides them. And this means that ethical practice is not just a professional obligation, but a spiritual one. The call to integrity, humility, and accountability aligns closely with the ACA Code of Ethics. And when faced with a situation that could lead to board discipline, my faith encourages me to seek wise counsel, admit my limitations, and prioritize the well-being of others as well as my own comfort and ability to make sure people feel safe and secure, or clients feel safe and secure in their environment that they're in. Reviewing both the scholarly literature and my state board's disciplinary actions has reinforced that the ethical practice requires vigilance, humility, and a commitment to ongoing growth. As a counselor, I must continually evaluate my competence, monitor my well-being, and uphold the trust that clients place in us. Thank you.